Okay, good evening everyone. So today we will see one of the very important topic like exception handling. I think we have already seen this topic but we have used only try and except blocks. But here we will be seeing the four types of blocks like the try, except, else and the finally blocks. Using that four blocks, we will be handling our errors very gracefully. So instead of doing the hard error stop of our program, we will catch that errors and then we handle that exceptions gracefully so that our program won't fail. Let's see how exactly those structured. Uh, First is like try. So try, they have given what the try block should have the potential errors for the exception. So we know this line will throw some error. But then we will be keeping that line inside our try block. Similarly, we can expect which exception can occur. Like for example, if you divide by 0, 0 division exception, uh, similar kind of stuff. So if we already know, we can have that uh, exception for any numerical operations. But if it is like string concatenation, data type mismatch errors, or file not found errors, some of the main type of errors we will have. So in that we generally use that. So when that error has occurred, so this block will execute. So depending whatever which error we have given, it will execute that error, like that code inside this code. So it's like if we can catch that exception, and we can actually show to the user also this exception has occurred inside this. So and then this else is an optional block, so it's depending on our requirement. So only it got executes whenever our try block has no errors, then only this block will be executed. And finally is also an operational block. So whenever it never cares of anything, whether exception occurred or exception not occurred. So you want to do something finally, then this block will be executed. So this is our code example. So just inside the try block we are giving result equal to, we are dividing 10 with 0. So obviously this will raise a 0 division error. So this is the comment. So now when we expect 0 division error, so we are just printing cannot divided by 0. So our code will go to this thing, and then this expect block, and it doesn't throw any error, but it will print this cannot divided by 0 statement, and it will execute, like it will come out of the execution loop. So it doesn't throw any error. Our program won't fail. So just because we already know it can might happen. Similarly, when we can give multiple exceptions. So when there is a type error, for example, you are actually dividing string with some not 0, so something like 2 something. So then it will actually give the type error because you can't divide a string with 2. Similar kind of stuff incorrect. So now uh, yeah, so now whenever we divide with 0, we obviously know that this is a 0 division error. Then actually we expect that error and we print that statement. Actually we caught that exception, and because we caught that exception, our execution will go to this statement, and then it divide with 0. Similarly, I'm saying again, we can give multiple exceptions, not only 0 division error. So if in case we are trying to divide a string with something string, so this will give actually type error. So similarly, the incorrect data type used, and the else block is nothing but whenever our code doesn't throw any error, then actually it will go to this thing, this else statement, and finally we'll obviously execute finally whether even exception occurs or not occurs, this block will ultimately executes. So these are the four types of exception handling statements in uh, Python. So before we have seen only try except, now we are seeing else. So generally we use if else, but we can use that else statement in exception handling as well. So apart from this, we have another thing. So similarly kind of stuff. So for example, we are trying to open a file which is not there. So generally it will actually found except file not found error. Then with when we try to open in write mode, in write or append mode, that will obviously create. So and then it will be writing something. So for example, let me. I'm printing. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to open a file, and let's forget about this, and then I am saying accept file not found error, and then I am saying file not. Uh, I will be printing that. If we don't give this, obviously our code will fail, and we will get error on the console instead of getting error on the console. So if you see the exception found message we have got. But if we don't give this statement, and if you want just for example, just I'm commenting this out. So I'm just trying to open the file. So it is saying file not found error because we know the file is not there, but we are trying to open that file. That's why we got this error. So our code got failed. But if we already know this can happen, so to gracefully exit, so will be using this exception handlings. Now the similar kind of stuff. So now we in the try block we are giving another. We are creating a dictionary, key value dictionary. Here we are giving key generally, then it will actually get. But if we give some SSTD something, right? So then actually what it does, it will expect a key error, and we in the key error we actually got a message. So generally when you see here, so this is the error, and for that error we have some message also. So to access this, we actually this is the notation to access the error message. So we are defining uh, another statement. This is not found, doesn't exist in the dictionary. So here what we are doing, when we are file not found, we are actually creating a new file, and we are uh, writing something into the file. And then in the else statement, because at first this will fail, so this doesn't execute, because we are already this try block got exception, will get exception, so it will go to this. Until unless this try block doesn't have any exceptions, then only it will go to this else condition, otherwise it don't go. This is another example. Let's hold it. So now they finally raise, actually we can raise our own exceptions. So using this keyword raise, and we are saying it's a type error. So this is an error that I made up, something like that. You can give your own errors also, own error messages, I meant to say. So now when I run, for the first time when I run, this won't get executed. This else kind, the print, something won't get printed out. So we are actually raising an type error. Okay. So exception found, whatever I have given. So when we go to the directory where it is, so it will create some new file, what we have given, a file.txt. Should create, right? Is there exercise? File equal to open, should write, and it should write something, right? I think it is. 1 second. We haven't closed it. Okay, sorry. It is creating this at this location. So that's the problem. So yeah, because this try block again having error. So because we have given, so it didn't went into the else block because the key is not there. So it went into exception block. So then also this also executed. So now when I just change back to, now actually it got read. So it is typing our value something, whatever inside this a file.txt, it is actually going to this else statement. So generally we need to close file whenever we open it. So that's why we are giving in finally block, whether we open or open for reading or open for writing, we need to close, because here we are not using with uh, notation, Whenever we are using with notation, it will automatically close. But now we are working directly with the kind of method function syntax. We need to close. Close. So this is one of the use case we to use finally. We use else also to define different things, but these are very optionally used, not ran not as that much used, but all this try and accept are very frequently used in our main coding. So this is very useful technique to gracefully handle our exceptions and to doesn't go into state like uh, where our code should not fail. So the next example is if you remember, we have already coded some BMI, so similar kind of stuff. But here, what we are giving when our user has entered height greater than 3 meters, then we are actually raising human error that should not be raised. So it's like our own, when to say, our own user-defined error uh, that we have made. So I am just commenting all this. Height if I give 4, just write something 60. So we are actually raising human error should not be over. So this is how we are actually highlighting. So these are user-defined errors. So similarly, the same kind of stuff we have actually given here. So we can catch the exception message as error message as here the notation is we have taken a Z. Generally, this is the notation as Z, and we are actually displaying that. So even you can display with the help of f string also. And then again, this is the same thing we have seen. We can create our own exception. So we are actually raising value error exception. This is the main with exception handling. Now we will go to JSON handling in Python. So this is one of the important data type in Python, like I meant to say data structure generally used. So this is actually JavaScript data type uh, is which is used for JavaScript, but actually due to its lightweight and very readable human format, it is actually applicable across all the programming languages for do any data operations. Generally, the JSON is the preferred uh, like a preferred format we can say. So JSON stands for JavaScript object notation. So it's like it's a human readable. So it's a similar kind of Python dictionary, uh, but it have different kind of stuff. So it's like the Python dictionary, which is actually stored in a nice format. So for example, this is a JSON string. So name, John, age, city, and so these are actually converting JSON objects to Python objects and uh, Python objects to JSON objects. So Python have by default a JSON module. So you don't need to install anything. Just we need to import that JSON module. So we are giving JSON string, and then we are try saying to convert it to a Python dictionary. So with that, actually what we are using, we are calling loads method and we are passing the string, so it will automatically convert the JSON. So the similar kind of stuff we can actually convert back to JSON. So we are giving Python dictionary here. then we are saying JSON dumps, and the output will be something like this. So it is as of now, if you see here, it will be same. But when we give in data types like .json, like .txt, when we try to load the data into these files and giving the indent options, then this will actually denotes how the file will be like, how it will be like. So for example, I am just creating one file like, let's create this one. So here only I'm just keeping just JSON dump. I think indent where I have to give, let's okay, here only dump indent. So indent is nothing but let's say with indent and without indent. So now what I am doing, I am importing JSON. I'm creating a data. So if you carefully observe, we are actually creating a kind of Python dictionary, and we are actually outputting in the JSON file. So it got executed successfully. So it got executed. So when I open it, Notepad++, so it is actually coming in one line, but this is not exactly our required format. So like I meant to say, not JSON kind of format. So when we give the indent equal to 4, and then I am just deleting this, and when I rerun again, so this is the format what we have been looking at. So if you carefully observe, so in the employees, the main can say key, we have another two dictionary keys like name, role, and similarly we have another name and role. So depending on the indent, actually this is the how JSON format will be looking like. So it is very human readable. So that's why maximum of JSON format for any quantifications to do some data related operations which are very lightweight and which should be readable. So maximum of the time web development, maximum of time we uh, work on JSONs only, and how to get the JSON object and how to convert it into Python objects. So this is one of the important module I can say in Python for any web scraping or web development. Also we will be using this for JSON module going forward. So generally this how we are writing, we are using dump. So similarly, when we want to read the same thing, we would be using load method. So instead of dump, we will be using load, and we will be printing the data. Now we are improving our password manager. So yesterday, now we see here. Yeah. Oh, so here what we are doing, we are actually saving it in a txt file right here. So now what we will be doing, we will be storing our data into a JSON format instead of TXT file, and we will be creating another button, a search button. So when we click the search button, whatever we store in the JSON format, it should get that website related credentials, and it should be displayed to the user. And we should apply techniques whether the JSON object is there or not. For the we can apply for multiple things, but mainly for JSON file object. So the next file is that, so we have to create another button, a search button, and we have to define another format. So now whenever we click on add, it should add the data into a JSON file, not a TXT file. So the maximum of the code remains same. So first let's go to our UI. So now here what we are doing, we are creating another button. The everything else remains same. So this is the next new button. So when we take the grid, for example, so now we will be creating a button here, and I think we will be reducing the website entry. We are creating a button here, and we will be reducing the website entry column, and we actually remove the span also. So almost fine. So just because we want to create another button, search button in the here, like row 2 column 3. So it's like index. If you take in terms of index, row 1 in column 2. So here we want that search button with we can do everything, and the command is like find password is the function we need to define, and we are placing it at row 1 column 2. We are not spanning anything, so it will be placed perfectly. And I don't think anything else we have changed, only that two entries, the width we have adjusted and columns when we have removed in the UI. Now going back to here also, we haven't changed anything, like so only here in the else statement, the password generator also there is no change. So here only in the else statement we are actually changing. We are not asking user any that message box is to get, right. So now we are not asking the user. So whenever we have a JSON object, a JSON file, we are actually opening that file, and we are just reading that file, read data. But if the JSON object is not there, so we have implemented our demo kind of stuff here. Whenever the file not found, we are actually creating a JSON object as data file. So we are using with notation, and now we are actually dumping our data into the data file. So the new data is like this one. So here if you see, we have actually defined end of JSON format. So but if we just convert into Python object, it will be a dictionary kind of stuff. But just again, if you just write in one line, it is like a dictionary only. But to represent in kind of JSON format, we have created new data. So So we are not writing directly, so we are just creating a new data and then we are dumping the data. So to write the data into JSON, we need to use this new data. So now to append, right? So generally we don't doing the append here, because when we do the append, it will actually add another kind of stuff, this kind of format below that. But in the JSON we don't require that. We actually want this email and password and website should be added inside this flower brackets. So to do the append, this is the one of the method in the uh, JSON module for appending the data. So again, we are actually, whenever this is there, if there is no problem with this data, because for the first time this won't be executed, because this will throw an error obviously when we run it for first time, then it will go to this except. But when we run for the second time, this will obviously execute, like, and there won't be any error. Then at that time we will be using this finally method to update the data. And we are actually what we are doing, we are doing the same thing again, because we are rewriting the data, updated data into the JSON file again uh, by removing, like, by overriding. So here it will store I meant to say two uh, two columns, or I mean to say two kind of, for example, there is Gmail and Yahoo. So for Gmail we have email and password. For Yahoo also we will have email and password the second time. So now it will have two sections, right? So that two sections will be uploaded inside this data, and then that data we are actually storing inside, uh, again, like updating again inside our JSON. So the same thing, the notation intent we are. So if you carefully observe again, this is like a repetition of a code. If required, we can actually write another, I mean, this another function, and we can call that function also. But just to our understanding, as of now we haven't did that, but we can actually the same thing with open data file json.dump data file indent equal to 4. So finally, whenever it's got added, we need to delete the whatever the entries are there in the entry widgets. We will be deleting that from 0 to the end position. So here we have uh, done with our adding of data into JSON and writing, appending the data. Now, whenever the new functionality we need to add, so whenever we enter any that name, Yahoo or Gmail, so it should load our JSON file, and then it should show our data is actually there or not. Like we should get our username and password. So here what we are trying, we are just getting whatever we have entered into the website widget using get method. We are storing that into a website variable, and then we are opening that JSON, and we are loading that. If file not found error, we will get message box show info error, no data file found. If there is this is already there, and then if you want to search what exactly, so now if website So whatever we entered in data, so here we are giving because this is a notation, right? It's a kind of uh, I meant to say kind of dictionary stuff. So it's like data of key of, and then we are giving to access like list comprehensions, what we have already discussed, to access the value of inside that, inside a dict of dict. Similar kind of stuff we are doing here for email. We are getting inside the data dictionary, you can say, or data JSON object of that website, for example Gmail, and then email, and we will get this email whatever is. Similarly, if it is a password, also the same thing, website of password. So it is like accessing using list comprehension. Now we are showing the info, title, website, message like email, password, whatever we are using f strings. So similarly, uh, else if it hasn't found any data, now it will actually do the execution. So now we will see the execution. So now because it's for the first time, it is not generated. We are not having any JSON object also. So when I click on search, so it is saying no data file found, because for the first time I am running. Now for example I am email, and I am giving password, and I am clicking add. So if I go to my password manager improved, okay, I think from which password manager only it will create. So here we can say data.json is create. So now it's Gmail, email, password. So similar kind of next I will be creating Yahoo, yahoo.com 3 4 5 7 8 9. Now I am again adding. Now if I, it's saying I want to reload, so it got added. And now I want to retrieve my Yahoo data. Now when I click search, a Yahoo email password it is giving. So you don't need to open our data file also, you just need to store, and we can just use this password manager so that it is easy. Whatever you have stored, it is can be directly fetched from here, and you can directly see. Now if I given yeah, now if I click no details find, so because there is no Yahoo exists. So similarly we can go Outlook. Okay, generate password. Even this functionality should not affect, right, because it is generating password. And then when I click add, now it will adding. So I haven't given Outlook, that's why it is Outlook. You can just, so I'm getting my data. So we have improved manager, and then you can actually we can use this a tool by converting into exe file, and you can pass it to your friends, and it's like just starting of Python, how Python can be used in different ways, and it's in our day-to-day activities as well. Okay. Yeah, that's it for today.